Hi there, I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about organizing your business and just making it easy to go to work each day. Now, I often say you don't need to organize a whole lot when you start your business because you'll kind of wait and see what your business does and see what you need to organize. But there are a few tools to make sure that you have an effective work day every day. So I'm going to just talk about those and how you can keep track of them so that you can be as productive as possible. So the first thing is you want to make sure that when you're sitting down to work that you are working on what's called IPAs. That's income producing activities. So income producing activities is when you're talking to people, you're helping to move things in the right way with people, and they all have to do with people. That's how you know. If it's emailing about stuff or checking on something or maybe making a graphic, those are not income producing activities. Particularly checking your email, that definitely isn't. But you're outgoing, if you're contacting people, then you know you're in the right direction. So you're working on income producing activities. So there are lots of ways to keep track of those. And there are some basic areas when you're a consultant that you'll want to make sure you're doing on a daily basis when you're at work. So the four basic categories for a new consultant are, they're actually in this binder. And this is my new consultant binder. This is what I used to use. And I'll tell you what I use now, and you can definitely do that as far as if you want to have it on the computer instead of in a binder. But in a binder, so the four basic areas are bookings. So you can see I have a tab there for that. So I have a full tab here for bookings, and then I have one for recruiting, and then another one for customer care, and what am I missing there? Oh, sorry, Hostess Coaching was the first one. I apologize. I turned that. So those are the four areas. So Hostess Coaching, bookings, recruiting, and customer care. Those are the main areas that you want to spend your time in. So let's talk about that for a minute. So Hostess Coaching, there's a few things that you want to check off. You can use a little check sheet if you'd like to. I'll go over what you might want on that in just a second. But definitely you want to make sure you're Hostess Coaching every day and checking in with your hostesses. Another thing, as far as booking goes, you want to make sure you're following up on any leads that you got from your parties. You also want to be reaching out to other people and making sure that you're meeting your weekly bookings goal. So every week, this is what has kept me in business for 11 years, is that weekly booking agreement that I make with myself, the commitment. It's always been between 2 to 4 parties, and it's up to me what that is depending on whether I'm going for a trip or I have some other things going on, but I always make it between 2 to 4 bookings a week. This means that I have between 1 to 4 a week basically, because you could have some cancellations and things like that. So you always want to make sure you have extra. So I usually try to go for the high end because then that makes sure that I have a really steady calendar and that I'm growing in my business. Okay, so that's for bookings. And then for recruiting, you want to make sure that you're jotting down anyone that's interested in the business and that you're starting either a three-way conversation with your team leader, which might be me or one of our other team leaders, so that you're getting the help that you need to answer their questions. Now, the other thing you want to do is make sure you're doing an interview just over the phone, getting an idea of what they like and what might help them in this business, and really answering questions one-on-one. Hearing your voice is huge for them to be able to do that. Do that with your team leader as well when you're new at this. Okay, and then the other area is customer care. Customer care is wonderful. There are so many wonderful things you can do on that, and there's a whole, video's worth of customer care. But what you want to do is make sure that you're checking in on any of your customers that have purchased from you. When you got an email from them, you actually have their email address now, so you can reach out to them by email, or you might message them on Facebook or anything like that, but just checking in and seeing how they like their books, and then maybe bringing up anything like our half price guarantee or any kinds of things that we provide to them, or you do personally as a consultant that would be advantageous for them. So you want to make sure that you bring those things up and let them know that you're there for them, and then of course try and move them through to book a party with you or to join. Especially if they purchased a lot of books, they should probably be on your team. So make sure that you're bringing that up to them and helping them to do that. Okay, now the other way, the way that I actually keep track of my information now is actually a spreadsheet. And so these same types of things I just keep track of on a spreadsheet and also on a whiteboard here in my office. So anyone that's interested in recruiting, I make sure and write their name down. If we had the initial conversation but they didn't decide to, then I make sure I keep their name and check back in with them every so often. As far as bookings, same kind of thing. I have a spreadsheet to work on that, and I go through my past customers, and I also keep track of all of my customers and anyone that attended any kind of party that I do within a spreadsheet that I have. So my spreadsheet has several pages, and so on the first page I just, by the way, you can see everything that I do, exactly what I do in the organizing a Facebook party, and you can see exactly what my spreadsheet looks like and how I put the people in and how I highlight them if they're interested in booking a party or recruiting. This just keeps it really easy for me to just glance in real quickly, and when I go to do my customer care, it's very easy because I put in how much they spent and also if they won the drawing, anything like that, and so it makes it really easy for me to, at a glance, really have a lot of work to do because I can just do customer care right there. Now, the second part of my spreadsheet actually has just any of my hostesses, and so I just list them, and it has several columns. The first column is just the date when we're having their party, then the time, then what time zone they're in. The time is my current time, but then the zone that they're in, so that I keep track of that. Who the previous hostess is. If I sent them, these are the steps, by the way, all of the hostess coaching steps are there. So I have, did I send them their video? Did they reply? Did they invite? Did they invite 200? Or sorry, did I send them the invitation? And then did they invite 200? Did I set up their e-show, Facebook event? Did they add, did I add the host? Did they put the guests on? Did I set up Visly? Have I been interacting? And have I had the last call with them? How many bookings they got? What the sales totals were? And then did I get the hostess's list of what she wants? And then did I provide her total, and is it closed? And then just a place for notes. And so that just makes it so when I sit down to work on my hostesses and on my parties, I've got it all in front of my eyes, and I put an X if it's done, and then a big O if it's where I need to be working. So I know exactly where they're at, and I can work on that O right away and do messaging to get it moving ahead. So I love this because I can sit down and right away just have this all together. So by the way, I'll be posting a blank spreadsheet, so you, of course, can use this too. I'll add that below on this, this YouTube video, so you can just download that blank spreadsheet and be using it right away. Okay, and so that's what I do with my hostesses and how I keep track of them. And then one other thing you'll want to do as you move from being a brand new consultant to all of a sudden having team members, you'll want to keep track of your consultants, the new consultants on your team, and making sure that you're giving them at least a couple contact times a week and checking with them and seeing how they're doing and helping them move along as well. So I will include that in the spreadsheet. Also, just a touch base is a TB, by the way. So I do that, and then when they're having their parties and when they're observing, when they get team members, and then also when they tell me their why and if I've helped them with that. So that's just a great way to keep track of everyone and what you have going on in your team without having to do a ton of organization. It's just there and you can get started. So hopefully that gives you a good overview of how to organize, and then reach out to your team leader for any extra tips on organizing your business right away. This doesn't need to be a huge thing, but it is great to be organized so that when you sit down to work, you are ready to work. Thanks.